Hello and welcome to another podcast of Sipping Tea with Key. And today we're going to be talking about maintaining healthy family relationships. And most of these topics that I have discussed prior on my podcast have been near and dear to me, some things that I have gone through or experienced or seen. And having a healthy family is one of them. Because nowadays it's so hard for families to get along and to even come together for family functions. And, when they do come together for family functions, there's tension, there's attitudes, there's fighting. And it's hard to enjoy, being an actual family. You can't enjoy the people that you grew up with, the people that you played in the sandboxes with, the people that you rode dirt bikes with up and down the road, because people change and they don't know how to maintain, being a family. And building healthy family relationships is key nowadays. And it seems like, so many people are getting married and, they're having children. And I often wonder if they are, getting married for the right reasons, or if they even understand what building a healthy family relationship means. It's not just a point of having a ring to say that you're married, or having a child to, legitimate the marriage or even the family. We have to really sit down and think about what having a family means. You have to love one another and treat each other with respect. I have 4 keys that I do want to touch on when it comes to building healthy family relationships. And one is spending time together. We are all so busy nowadays with, our own work and, traveling and just, really wanting to live our own lives. Yes, that's understandable. But we have to remember that family does matter. We shouldn't only get together when there's a funeral or just when there's a family reunion, just to see everybody. And then we go back to our own lives and we never see each other again until the next funeral or the next family reunion or the next cookout. We should learn to spend time with the people that are in our lives. We grew up with, cousins, and we have siblings, brothers, sisters, cousins, and even aunts, uncles that we love and we had a good time with, but we drifted, and we want to get back to that. Spend time together. Find out when it is a good time for you all to get together. It's important to spend time because, sad to say, but we never know when it is our last day. And I don't want to go a day without my family knowing that I love them, or even attempting to spend time with them, irregardless of disputes that may or may not happen. I still love my family, and I want my family to know that. And I also want to spend time with my family because they are important to me. Family is very important. Be able to spend time with your family. You're not always going to have the time, because we all have our lives, and we have to work to maintain that life. But take time, even if it is sending a text message to your uncle, your cousin, your aunt, your sister, whomever it may be. You can send a text message. Hey, I was just thinking about you. Hope you're having a good day. Hey, how's your day going? You're on my mind. Simple things like that can put a smile on someone's face and let them know that you are really thinking about them, because, they may not even think that you are even thinking about them. They may not even be thinking about you either. But the point is, you thought about them enough to make it known, for them to feel special, because you love them and you care. So you want to make sure that you're spending time with these loved ones, even if it's children. Children are very important because children learn from the adults in the family. And you want to set a good example by talking to each other, communicating, and, really spending time and showing positive interactions. Because the way that you interact in front of a child is the way that child is going to learn to interact with themselves and with other people in the environment. So you got to be mindful about the time that you're spending and the way that you're spending that time, because that is key to children. You also want to learn to separate your work. That's my second key. Separate your work from your family. I know sometimes we have these jobs that we have so much work to do that it's so hard to turn off. It's so hard to turn off. You have to prepare this project. You have to prepare these briefs. You have to prepare, this presentation for, the office tomorrow. But if you're using your time wisely, all of that will be done. Yes, we all have different jobs. We all have different levels of jobs in which it requires a different level of attention. But we all need to learn to separate what it means to be a boss when you're at work and to be a father or a mother when you're home. Because that takes away from the time that you're spending with your family when you're doing work. Even if you're a stay-at-home mom, it goes the same way. When you're a stay-at-home mom, yes, it may seem that everything is go, 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 but you can still turn that off. Once you get everything you need to get done, sit back and spend time with your husband, spend time with your wife, spend time with your kids, help them with their homework, cook together, go out and wash the car, do anything that requires spending time together. Go to the park. Anything that, that pulls that interaction out. You want to make sure that you're spending time, because it's so easy to forget how interactions should go when they aren't happening. You forget that you should be spending time. You forget that you should be showing affection when it's not happening. And bringing your work home, it distracts you from showing your wife attention, showing your kids attention, because you want that private time alone. But that private time, or that time spent doing your work, was when you were at work. When you're home, your mom. When you're home, your dad. Maybe, when the night is calm and everything is settled, maybe you can go back and get back on your work. Get back to your work for a little while. But you want to make sure that you're separating work from home. Make sure that your family knows that you want to spend time with them, and you show that when you are in their presence. You don't want to be distracted. It's easy to get distracted with your work, and that's one thing you don't want to do. So make sure that you're limiting the amount of time that you're spending doing work when it requires being a parent or being a partner. All of that does matter, because I will admit, it's hard to, want to be with someone and want to do certain things with someone when they are, busy doing other things. When you are busy, it takes away from the spark in the relationship and in the family. So you have to remember that, to separate work from home. And of course, the person has to be understanding that, yes, you do have work. Some things are priority. I'm not telling you not to do your work or, stay on top of the things that you need to do, but learn to prioritize. Prioritize the time, prioritize the work. You can do this when, where, and how. How much time can you get this done? How much time does it require? Will it take away from the time that I want to actually spend with my family, that I want to spend with my partner? And if it does, you need to readjust and rethink your plan. It's just, you want to learn to show respect. Every day, I feel like I encounter something or someone, who tells me about their family and, how one family member, says something crazy, and then, all hell broke loose. And it's not uncommon, because we all have a dysfunctional family. I do too. Like, not everyone's family is perfect. So it's better to show respect. Learn to accept one another's differences, and learn to respect one another's opinions, because there's not one person who is always right, and not one person's actions who is always right. It takes two to tango, and showing respect from the beginning can eliminate all of the confusion. It's so easy to get caught up in he said, she said, even when it comes to family members, because they do it best. And sometimes your family, they can get out of line as well. Yes, they say blood is thicker than water, but sometimes your family does step out of line. We just have to say it. Because I know there are more than, 5 people that I can name, and even listening, who would say that they have, a dysfunctional family, or some of their family members, they don't speak to each other, or they can't get together for family functions because something's always happening. Anything. It's so easy to say that we don't always agree. You're not always going to agree, but that doesn't mean that a disagreement has to turn into a fight. A disagreement is just as it is a disagreement. You learn to disagree, and as adults, that's a lesson that should have been learned as a child, as a teenager, as a young adult. You learn to disagree. Healthy disagreements. Learn to debate. I love to debate. I will debate you down. But you have to learn how to be a healthy debater, or a dispute in a healthy way. It doesn't have to turn into a screaming match. Be mindful of someone else's differences and someone else's opinions, because this is how they think. Not two people think alike, so we can't expect that to be the case. So show respect to that person. If you don't like something, of course, your family, you voice your opinion in a respectful way. If you don't like how something happened, don't get mad and, just go tell everybody in the family, and then not tell the person whom you are upset with. Go to that person. Because I've seen, so many things happen, even in my own family, where things can happen and it not be said to that person, and then it blow up, and then there's a screaming match, there's tension, and then there's confusion and drama, which is never fun when you're at a family function. Let me tell you, that is never fun. Because one person can be thinking something, and the other opposite person is thinking a totally different thing, and those two people are not on the same playing field, and it never ends. When you are providing support to your family, you're showing that you actually do care, and you're not doing it just so that you can shut them up. You want to provide support because that's your family. No matter if they're in a rut, if they can't, give it back to you the next week, the next month, you're doing it because you care. And you are doing it out of the kindness of your heart, because you have a genuine heart. And you love them. Period. Providing support for your family, like your family members could be going through something so terrible and no one would ever know. They could pass on and you would still never know until you got bills, or until you discover something that actually brought it out. Some people would rather hold things in than to ask someone else for help. Even when it comes to family members, you would rather not ask for help. And it's sad, but it's still true, because so many people cut family members off and don't think twice about it. I absolutely wish that, my family was closer, or, we were a little bit more tight-knit, but we provide support when it's needed. And that's what's most important. We come together when it's needed. And all of these keys, they tie in together. Because it's all about remembering that you are family and remembering that you are one as a whole. You are one. You are one unit. You are one name. And remembering that name, you remember that bloodline. Remember who your grandmother and grandfather are. Remember what they stood for. Whether they tried to keep the family together or they were the kind of people that held functions to make everybody get together, even when people didn't want to come together. You have to remember that family is a unit, and you are supposed to be tight. You are supposed to have each other's backs. Whether they are right or wrong, have each other's backs, and then tell them in private that you were wrong, and I'm telling you that you're wrong. Learn to stand up for one another. It is your family. When you see each other speak, whether you're distant cousins, distant relatives, it doesn't matter. Family is family. And being able to call each other family is a gift. Because each family is unique. Each family has their own niche. And I love my family. I do. And I wish that all families had that same dynamic. But again, everybody's family is different. So you want to remember to love everybody. Tell each other that you love each other. Even if it's through a text, even if it's through a quick phone call, an email, whatever it needs to be. If you need to, set up a weekly meeting, a weekly dinner. Hey, I am, just getting off work. You want to go, grab some food, grab dinner, grab a drink. You want to go catch a movie. You don't even have to talk. Just to be in each other's presence is a blessing. Because you never know when you might not see that person again. And then you will wish that you had taken that time to say these things to them. That you had taken that time to spend moments with them, to talk, to hear their voice, to hear their laughter, to see their smile, to do all of these things. It's nothing worse than regretting not doing what you should have done. So remember to love your family, stay in contact with your family, and be there for one another because you're family. So the next podcast, everybody, will be on having healthy friendships. I love this topic of building healthy relationships. is very near and dear to me, and I'm loving it. And I say that a lot. I'm loving it, but I am loving it. So stay tuned to my next podcast of Sippin' Tea with Key, where we will be talking about building healthy friendships. Building healthy friendships will be coming up next, so you stay tuned, like, subscribe, send to your friends, tell your friends to check out the podcast, and we'll see you again on another episode of Sippin' Tea with Key.